Welcome to this demonstration of embedding a Visual Builder standalone application inside Oracle Fusion Apps using Visual Builder Studio. My name is Shai Schmelzer. In this demonstration, we'll show you how to take an existing Visual Builder application and prepare it to be embedded inside Fusion Apps. We'll then show you how to access Visual Builder Studio in your Fusion App instance, create a new AppUI extension and use an iframe to reference the Visual Builder app, and then deploy the extension and access it directly from the Fusion App menus. So first of all, we have a Visual Builder instance. This is a standalone Visual Builder, and we have an application in here. If we go and actually invoke the application, over here, this is an application that lets you search on a movie that you can borrow. So for example, if I type Gal, I'll get the Galaxy movie, right? And that's kind of the functionality of the application. Now, one of the things to know about this application, you can see here right now it says movie selected for you, but you can actually pass in a parameter. So if you put in an emp name like that, then the name would appear here. So that's another thing to know about our application. It accepts a parameter. So if I want to take this application and embed it into our Fusion apps, first of all, things that you would need to do in Visual Builder. So on your application, if you actually click on your application settings and security, you would want to allow embedding either in a specific domain or in all domain, depending on what you're expecting. If you're doing specific domain, make sure that you take both the domain of your Visual Builder Studio and the domain of your Fusion apps, which is what we have over here. Okay. So this domain, by the way, is exactly this domain that we're seeing here. Right. So this is Fusion app, and if I want to add something into it, one of the options I would have under the configuration menu is Visual Builder. And when I go into Visual Builder, I would get a list of projects that belong to me. My project that I'm going to work on is specifically this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new workspace for an application extension. Okay, so we're going to call this one the Movies application. I'm going to connect to my Fusion instance. And I'm going to create a new repository called Movies. Like that. So by doing this, I'm creating an application extension with the Git repository as well as build jobs and a pipeline to deploy it. And now I can build a new AppUI. Okay, so we're going to call this one Movies. And we have a default page here. And as you can see, the default page is empty. In fact, if you go into the code view, it's empty. So we're going to add an iframe tag, and then we also need the source for the iframe, like that. And the source can basically be the URL for our application. So make sure you're picking up the live URL, and we're not going to pick up the variable name yet. So just, the variable name, yes, but not the value. I'm going to copy all of this and put it in the source, like that. All right, if you switch back to the design view, you would see a small iframe here with your application, hopefully. Okay. You probably want to make it bigger. So when you're on the iframe here, look at the style property, and you can set, for example, the width to be 100%. Like that. Okay. We also need a height here. So again, we can add, for example, a height of 800 points. Like that. So now we have our application in here. We're missing one part, which is we actually want to pass in the employee name, right? So if we look at all the properties here, expand the general one, and we scroll down, here's our source property. Right now it's a fixed value. We're gonna invoke the function editor here. We take the source of the URL and just put it in double quotes, and then add a plus to append something as a value. Now, You would be able to access here any of the variables in your page, flow, application, etc. This, by the way, means that you can do things like invoke REST services in Fusion Apps, get data, put it in a variable, and then pass it over to the VB app. In our case, we just want to go into the system properties under the user. We have the full name of the user, so we're just going to double click it, and this would add a reference to it over here. So now our source has these square brackets, the string, and then the variable that we're passing in. And you can actually see it's already saying John Dunbar because that's the user I'm currently logged in. All right, so this is our page in Fusion App. What we are now ready to do is to publish it. So we're going to click Publish. Okay. You can do merge after review if you want to. I'm just going to click Publish here. We need to provide the login information. This pushes our changes into the Git repository, and it would also invoke a build pipeline to start deployment. So let's go into our project. Okay, we have the movies workspace. This is what we created right now. And if we go into the build, in the queue right now, we'll see the movie package job that is being executed. And this is part of the movie package and deploy pipeline, okay, where you can see it's being executed right now, and you can see the progress here. Right, we see that both jobs have been successful. You can now go over to Fusion Apps. Okay, do a refresh here, and we'll navigate to the end over here to the others section, and you can see our movies app over here. If we click on it, it's opening as part of my Fusion application. Still get the movies. I get the username which I passed in. I can do searches, and it's just a native part of my Fusion apps, and I can go to other modules in Fusion apps directly from here.